What I seen. Now we cooking with gas up in here. Don't know what happened to the camera, but we laugh. It happens. We're gonna make some Seamoss today, and I am gonna bring you into my kitchen so I can show you how I enhance the Seamoss for our women's health. How I got into Seamoss, and especially for women's health, was well, I'm a woman, and there's things that we go through, and I found out it worked, and it works for me. So you know what I do? I share. That's what I do. Your girl shares. So typically, the way you make sea moss is I get my sea moss straight from St. Lucia, so it comes raw. Let me share it with you guys. See, it comes in a raw form. I take some and I put it in water, spring water. I'm gonna use spring water overnight with some lemon and lemon juice cut up. So you can see that. That's what it's going to be looking like. And what I'm going to do to enhance this sea moss and what makes it so special, and it's created for women's health, is because of what I put in it to help with our health as far as women's health. Okay, so I'll put you guys down for the recycling while there's some ingredients going. Like that, but live. I don't want to think about it. I just wanted to come on here and share with you all. So I have a couple of herbs that I use to enhance the sea moss, and the main three herbs that I really use that is for women's health, and specifically is the red raspberry leaf and the mullein and the comfrey. So this is good for women's health because, again, it helps with the menstrual pains. I used to be one. Oh my gosh, if I could tell you guys how I used to suffer from menstrual pains. Um, I would have menstrual pains a week before I had my monthly, a week during my monthly, a week after my monthly. So basically, I was 1 week without pain. And these teas started helping me. And as I would get my monthly, I would drink these teas, and it would calm the pain, it would calm the inflammation, and a lot of other things I was doing that I wasn't realizing was helping me. But when I learned this recipe, and then I learned how to infuse it with the steamer. So what I do is I take a tablespoon of each herb. So a tablespoon of each herb, and I put it in there, boil it. And I take that water, and that's the water I'm gonna infuse my sea moss with. This is the red raspberry leaf. This is really good. And listen, guys, as I put these, um, I didn't put them in the description or in the chat. I can do that afterwards. But it's only a tablespoon, and I'll definitely put it in the description so you can see what herbs is that I'm using, so that you can do this at home. And I don't think way like this honey star, there's no way I can really get a tablespoon full of them. See? So I just take a handful, throw that in there. And everything I'm using is spring water, no water from the tap, spring water. So I got my comfrey, my mullein, and my red raspberry leaf. And this is my echinacea. So what I was saying about these three herbs, echinacea, mullein, and comfrey, those are also used for inflammation. So that's why I use it in my women tea, my women chai tea, because it's also good for inflammation. But you can actually make that by itself, and it'd be for straight up inflammation. But everything that I'm using is good for inflammation. It's good for the high blood pressure. It's good for the diabetic. Again, this is chamomile, so it's really good for high blood pressure. It's naturally de-stresses. So our body goes through that when we are having our monthly. And this is cloves. a tablespoon of cloves. And then the last thing I'm going to add is going to be, I like, have some linden flour to add. Again, if this, for some reason, the flowers, the herbs, you can't get them in a tablespoon form, like this one I can't, I'll just use the palm of my hand, and it's like the inside of that. That's how I measure. And then the last thing is going to be the cinnamon sticks, and do the same thing, a handful of cinnamon sticks. And that's it. And we're gonna put that to boil. There we go. So this great ingredient we cannot do without. Was I thinking? Hello. Ginger. We gotta do it with the ginger. It ain't right if they ain't got no ginger. Ginger is great for inflammation as well. I'm also doing my ginger shots. God bless you. Hi, I'm making Seamoss. My Seamoss is infused with women's health. So this ginger chai tea that I'm making is actually what I used to use when I used to suffer from menstrual pains. And this tea helps. So what I'm doing is that sometimes we have people who don't like tea. Sometimes we have people who say it takes too long to make all this tea. You know, it's too many herbs. I mean, there's so many excuses that the humans come up with. We're human, right? So what I did was that I make the tea, and what I do is that I infuse it in Seamoss. And what's so cool about infusing it in Seamoss is that when the Seamoss turns into a gel, you actually can take a scoop of your Seamoss from a spoonful and put it in a hot cup of water, just hot water, and it turns into the tea. So you don't have to make the tea. The tea's already made, and you can have it in a hot cup of Seamoss to add to it. That's one way. And then also why my clients have told me that they love coming to me for my Seamoss is because the flavor that we use when we infuse it to the Seamoss actually tastes good. It has that cinnamon, chai, ginger, clove, anise kind of flavor to it. So that's all we do is really infuse it, make the tea water. So that when we take the Seamoss out of the water, the Seamoss then goes into the blender with, instead of just regular spring water, I use the infused strained tea. So I take out all the herbs, and I strain them, and then I just get this dark liquid tea, right? And that's what I would infuse my Seamoss with, and I bottle it up and send it to you guys. So if that's something you're looking for, forward, I actually got the Spectrum purple Seamoss, and that is for more targeted towards the thyroid and the weight loss. For Seamoss, a lot of things about Seamoss is really good. It's a lot of benefits. You can use it in different foods. You don't have to only use it in smoothies, soups, and stews. I use it in my beans. Well, not this one, because this one tastes like anise, right? And tastes like chai tea. But the regular Seamoss doesn't have any flavor to it when you make it. You can put it in your beans. It's a good thickener too for your greens, your smoothies, your teas, your soups, your beans. I use it for everything. I use about 2 to 3 tablespoons a day. My husband uses it. My son. I started noticing my inflammation in my ankles going down. I started noticing that when I would come back from working out, I would take a spoonful of Seamoss and just like a jello, I would eat it, and I would notice that I wouldn't be as sore the next day. So it helps a lot for the soreness when you're working out. It does have protein, it does have vitamins, it does have fiber. So you can just Google it, Google all the effects, the benefits that it does have. But I'm making mine from scratch. I don't do the store bought. I like the source I get it from, straight from St. Lucia, and I like to take my time. It's part of the nice creative process of actually making your own sea moss and jarring it. So the jars last about 3 weeks. I wouldn't do more than 3 weeks, just because you want it to have its best potential potency of the vitamins and nutrients, right? So that's definitely my recommendation, of more than 3 weeks. And yep, I make it fresh. So I also make it only as pre-ordered. So the batches that I'm actually making today have already been pre-ordered. So if you want some, you would pre-order it, and then I would make it, and the next day you would come and pick it up, because I like to make it fresh, just so that it's not sitting waiting for you where it's 2 or 3 days, right? Where it's actually made fresh. I put the dates on it, and the day you get it, then you can count the 3 weeks that you have until it's gone. And really, if you're doing a tablespoon or 2 tablespoons a day, it's not going to last more than that. There's no reason why it should. If it does, it's because you're not using it. And really, to see the effects of anything, is consistency is the key, right? Consistency is the name of the game. So I'm going to get to this, and I'll show you guys the results so you guys can see when I am bottling up. And if you are interested in some sea moss and you're local, everything is better homemade, yes. Just DM me, and I have some specials going on for my first timers and my return clients. And if you pre-ordered yours, so you can get actually $5 off some orders, depending on what you get. And it's local, it's fresh. The sea moss comes straight from St. Lucia, a reputable source. And if that's something that you like, oh, you know what, I want to make my own, I want to learn, that's a workshop, and I would love to do that. I would actually do a in-house workshop, and I would do it virtually for you all, so that you can actually see it step by step on how is it I make it. And if you want to even purchase your own sea moss, we can do that. And then when it gets here, we can actually have a class. But one thing is that sea moss does take a process. It's overnight. You can't rush that. And there's never ever boil your sea moss. I'm only using my stove because that's where my pots are at, and to boil my tea, not my sea moss. Sea moss is not to be boiled. It's to be overnight with water. And then you rinse that water out, and then you use pure spring water to make your sea moss after that. I'm using the tea because I'm infusing it. So all the benefits of the tea for the woman's health, for the rest, for the inflammation, for the menopause, for the menstrual pain, for the thyroid, all those herbs that I'm using, it's gonna go, that tea, that liquid tea is gonna go inside the sea moss. So instead of using regular water, I just taught you how to infuse your sea moss. You're welcome. So stay tuned for the results. DM me if you want your own. See you guys soon. Shalom.